Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Trupta Kolgud-Nadkarni. I am your host for this digital platform known as KYE or Know Your Entrepreneur. I speak with entrepreneurs from various diverse fields and I can't wait to share their story on this amazing platform. So today I will be speaking with Dr. Nandita Sethi. She is the founder of TEZ, also known as the Entrepreneur Zone, which is one of its kind startup training institute or accelerator, aiming at providing a complete ecosystem for creating entrepreneurs. TEZ, and Nandita will tell us more, which is a unit of Zen Skill Proc Private Limited, is a registered help center and a hand-holding agency under the Stand Up India scheme. It runs mentorship programs for startups to take them from start to startup. So Dr. Nandita has a doctorate in international economics, and in her 30 years of experience, that's very impressive, 30 years of experience, she has trained several top to mid-management levels on global markets, business, environment, corporate reforms, marketing trends, strategy, leadership, entrepreneurship, and intrapreneurship. So we're going to find out more from Nandita. So hi and welcome to the KYE digital platform. How are you doing today, Nandita?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you, Trupta, and thank you, KYE, for having me here today.
It's our pleasure
to be on your platform.
Yeah. Thank you. It's our pleasure. So, let's get started. Please tell us all about TEZ and, what it's about and what was your motivation in becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So, my career started off as an academician, and for a good number of years, I've been in the academic world, and over all these years, I have been teaching, nurturing a lot of students, especially management students. So on and on over the years, I found that a lot of students came with very wonderful ideas which they wanted to take on and make it into their entrepreneurship ventures, or some ideas they wanted to come up with and start up on their own. But what was happening was, remember at their level, they are just coming out from a student life, and they have actually done management or engineering. And then when we ask them to, convert their ideas into entrepreneurial ventures, it's not easy for them. So year after year, I would see students when they came in the first year, they would come with so much of enthusiasm, with such wonderful ideas which they wanted to take. And I could see the dynamism and the enthusiasm, the passion. But come the last semester of the program, it's all gone. And why was that so? Because there was always placements happening, recruitments happening. So they would be picked up by big companies. I call them sharks. So they would be picked up by them, and then we would lose them. And in the fourth semester, when I would ask them, what happened to your idea? You came up with a lot of passion, with some really, really dynamic ideas. They would say, yes, we have got a good job, and we will come back. We will definitely come back with this. So this happened year after year. I saw wonderful ideas actually going down the drain, because nobody is there to take them forward. There was no hand holding for them. And then, they would take on the jobs, and when I would meet them in some alumni meets and all, the next year it would be, or the next to next year, it would be like, yes, we will take up the idea, we still have it, but we got married, and so now they have responsibilities, and again meet them, they would have kids. So actually the idea never came back, and they got stuck in this cycle of the 9-to-5 job, and the 30th of the month becomes important. So you cannot get them back. And I can see the number of people we lose to jobs, but cannot get them back in entrepreneurship because of no, ecosystem at that point to support them, and they have taken loans, etc. Parents have been pestering them, okay, come on, start off with the job. So very difficult to get them back. So that was my aha moment. That was when I said, okay, there is some whole lot of people here who really want to start, but they don't have the wherewithal, or they don't have the ecosystem to help them. So in 2015, I actually quit my job, a comfortable one, and I said, let me try to see if I can give this ecosystem to the student startups. That's how my journey started.
Wow, that's amazing. After, such a long period, you actually decided to give these students, get back what they had thought of and, what they wanted to create, but somehow life happened, so they were not able to do it. So that is so amazing. Here I would like to tell our viewers that, after I asked Nandita a few questions, I'm going to talk about her entrepreneurial journey. So I'm going to ask the viewers a couple of questions, and the top 3 answers will get something fabulous from KYE. So do stay tuned. So, okay, so you talked about your aha moment. So besides, what is it about this field that, gives you a sense of accomplishment or satisfaction, or you can say aha, besides what you already told us, what is something about this field?
Sure. So I think when we see somebody is gaining from the mentorship we are giving them, and they are able to start their business, and I can actually see them launching their business, I think that is something which I feel, okay, it's success for me. And I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs who have come, startups, small students, and as young as some of them 14, 15, and as old as even 60. And there's no age limit for entrepreneurship. So it's a wide range. And when they come, they are completely clueless on how to go about. And it has little input if we can give them in a structured way. Look, this is what you have to be cognizant of. This is what you have to go in a structured way. Give them market access and help them to launch. Or if they have already launched, then help them to scale up. I think that is something which really gives me a great sense of satisfaction. I have seen in front of my eyes, students coming and then starting up and then becoming huge. So they actually really become big, and sometimes, we feel so happy looking at their journey that we could be a small part of their journey. So that is one thing I think that gives me a lot of motivation to keep doing this. Even though at times startups are, don't have the, I would say, sometimes you have to give it just out of your love for doing this work, because startups also do not have a lot of money to give. They are themselves looking for funding. So we have to mentor them no matter what. And once they start up and they are there and you can see their business starting off and launching, I think that gives a lot of satisfaction. Another thing I think, I would like to add here is, there are many women entrepreneurs. They actually want to start, and they also do not have some hand holding. So at that point of time, they can't scale up because they're coming from a very close-knit community, or they have not had the education or at that level to start something. So they come from, and some businesses come from very traditional businesses. I'll give you examples that will make it easy. We had this girl whose in-laws had a bookstore in Old City, and they were running this bookstore for many, many years. But when she came into the family, she wanted to do something different, and she wanted to take on the business, but she didn't want it in the brick and mortar form. So then she came to our program, and then we told her that why don't you go online, and why don't you come up with some innovative products, and we'll help you with the website, and we'll help you with how the businesses to be run, because you have a store now, you have to just make it online. So that gave her the thing, and she went online. So these kind of things motivate you. There are people in very traditional businesses, like even construction, they are in the brick and mortar form. Okay, now the youngsters, when they get into their family businesses, they do not want to do the same thing what their grandfather and father have been doing. They want to modernize it, they want to automate it, they want to add technology. So that is where I think we come into the picture. We help them with innovative products, we help them automate and bring about technology. All this happens, and they feel like doing that family business, or they want to start something new. So when they launch, or when they get funding, when we are able to successfully get a funding for them from either bank or angel investors, all this from anywhere, that gives me a big sense of satisfaction. I've helped a lot of women entrepreneurs, and that has been one agenda, but otherwise it's agnostic to gender, and we have helped people in all kinds of businesses. So they are coming up, launching, starting, and being reasonably successful gives a lot of satisfaction.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's so amazing, you're giving them a platform to, and you're actually helping them achieve what they set out to do. So any of your past students, like before you started this, right, you had students who had these ideas, how has that ratio been? Like, have they all come back knowing that you've started this venture?
Yeah, I think not many, but some of them who could, very senior batches who could recognize that I have started this, some of them came back. And I think 2 or 3 of them took help in whatever they were doing, what they wanted to do, start up something. So we helped them in whatever they were doing. Wonderful. So that way, yeah.
I'm sure that's so wonderful to hear, Nandita. So Nandita, during this journey, were there any barriers or challenges or obstacles that you had to face? And if yes, how did you get past them to be where you are today?
Sure. So I think the very first barrier was the starting point, that I had to nurture startups, but I had not, handled any business directly. So though I was in the company of entrepreneurs, I had not done business directly myself since I was an academician. So if I was to nurture businesses, I have to go through it myself first to understand the life cycle of an entrepreneur, the life cycle of a business, challenges, etc. So starting my own company, starting this company was the first challenge, to set it, to start it, face all the challenges of incorporating the company, and then, setting it up with the right team, bringing the right people on board, and the right, offering the right services. So all these were challenges that I faced in the journey. Other than that, getting the funding to do the business, getting customer acquisition. You see, at 2015 when we started off, the entrepreneurship boom was just about starting, but we were not fully into it. So people still didn't understand why, why are we giving so much importance to entrepreneurship and nurturing entrepreneurship? It's still the traditional system continues. So we had to actually educate people, like, look, this is an alternative career, and you need not only think about, seeking a job. People in India, I mean, the narrative right from beginning has been that education is for seeking a job. So to change that mindset, so the first challenge was not just setting up the business ourselves to be able to solve others' challenges. So we first faced these challenges ourselves. The second thing was changing the mindset of people that, look, this is a career alternative. Even today, when I go to any institution and we give talks, we do workshops, and we, want some startups to come to us so that we can nurture them. In a college of 2000 also, I won't find 5 people who really want to start up. Okay. So the other challenge that we faced was not just that we had to spread the concept of entrepreneurship and how, people can choose it as an alternate career alternative. But other thing was, like, generally in India, if you see, people do not like to pay much for services. And we were into a service segment. So we are into consultancy, advisory, mentorship, and other services associated with starting your business. There are a lot of them. So when it comes to services, normally if it's a product, people like to pay very easily. This is a very Indian thing. And when it comes to services, we think mentorship comes free and, advisory comes free. So especially in the small and medium and, startup segment, you have big consultancies which people pay for. But when it comes to the small and medium enterprise or the startup world, advisory and things like this, people don't like to pay for it. It's like why should I pay for like something you're talking? It's like wind, hawa.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. Yeah. So again, that concept, like, look, services are also having, there is a strategy, there is a consulting, there is, something that we are making a business plan for you, a business model. You're not aware of it. There's knowledge, there's everything. So making them pay for this is not easy. That is one big challenge in this segment. Then I think, personally for me, I think when we started off in 2015, if you remember, the states of Andhra and Telangana were actually separating, they were splitting. So when I started off, suddenly there was no business because you had these states splitting, and then everybody was busy just saving their skin and people just wanted to be where they are. That was the first challenge. And nobody was worried about, okay, starting a new thing, startup thing was just coming up. So there wasn't really any much business, and the struggle was to make people understand, like, okay, this things, political changes happen and the state was splitting. And so we had to be very resilient and keep ourselves going, seeing that, very, very less business was coming our way. So that was one challenge. As a woman, I think one challenge was that as women, we are very bad at networking. I mean, this is a generalization I'm making, but it's very true. And I tell this to other women as well. We are very good at many things, but when it comes to networking, women are like, we do our job, we work very hard, but we really don't go out of our way to networks into, like generally the boys clubs are there. And so we women are out of all this unless we make an effort. So with business, you see 90% happens majorly through networks. And if you're not a part of network, you would be left out. So again, as a woman, I had to retune my mindset that no, I have to network a lot. I have to be a part of networks and, meeting people, networking, creating your own circles. So this is a big thing in business. And this was one thing I had to, retune my own mindset. And I think another challenge came during pandemic. And again, in pandemic, it was all like earlier we were doing face-to-face mentoring and people were coming to us, we could handhold and take them through. But suddenly we had to change our entire process. We had to go online. We had to create content which was online. Everything had to be shifted. And not everybody was comfortable with mentoring online, So they really actually again dropped off, like in 2015. It was very, very meager. And not just for me, I think it was for everybody. But that was a challenge. And once again, I think, the concept that you have to be resilient and this too shall pass, I think that made us kept going. And I think last challenge, which I would say is, see, no business remains the same. When we started off, we were one of the forerunners in this area. And people were, just like T-Hub and other places, the ecosystem was just developing. So at that time, we entered a right time or wrong time, I'm not sure, because of many things, but competition was less. But as we progressed, what happened was that the whole country, I would say, right from our central government, the focus started shifting on entrepreneurship. So it was really good because much of our concept selling, educating people was shared by a whole lot of other stakeholders or other competitors. So that was good. But at the same time, all the stakeholders that came in became our competitors. So we had to face that competition. Even it was from the government, because government actually opened some, I should appreciate them. They opened some very good things like T-Hub, V-Hub, everything came up. And while we are all working in the same area, yes, in business, they are competition. So we had to face this tough competition too.
Correct.
And I think you also asked, how did we overcome it? While I think failure and then overcoming is a part of it. But I think typically the last thing, we overcame it mostly by, we didn't look at them as competitors. We looked at them as somebody we could partner with and associate with. So while government has opened a lot of incubators in every institution, we actually partner with those institutions. We partner with T-Hub, we partner with universities. We don't consider them as competitors. We changed our way of thinking and we actually made them our partners. So we work along with them. That's how we overcame some of them. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it and look at it, because, given the word competition, sometimes consciously or subconsciously puts pressure and, it's too much. But to talk about partnering and working together, I think that does in the long run as well. So here I'd like to ask our viewers 2 questions, and the top 3 comments will get something from KYE. 1, what does TEZ stand for? And secondly, which year did Nandita launch or start TEZ? So please put your answers in the comment section fast. All right. So at this point, what do you think is needed from your side to take, your venture to the next level? Like, what are your business goals or business aspirations?
Sure. So as we stand today, I think we have made some brand relatively for ourselves, but there's a saying, what got you here won't get you there. Yeah. So that's a big thing. We need to seriously think of how we can take it forward. And what I can envision is that in the next 5 years, we need to create not just services which are, given like one-off, but we need to create them like an umbrella of services, like a complete experience. So we have to really work on those lines where a startup can have its entire journey with us, which is like a long-term relationship where they come in with an idea, like you say in the film industry, come in with a story or a script and come out with the reel. So they need to come in here with an idea in their minds, and we should have this boutique kind of services all through, or we call it a venture studio. So we have them all through, where right from the idea, we nurture them to the stage where we can help them to launch it so that they enter the market, scale up their business, and we are there to handhold them, help them with funding, post-funding. So this is an array of services that we want to provide, and I would like to call it like a venture studio, where the ventures come in, sometimes at idea stage or sometimes even at a stage where they have got funding and they need now how do we structure our new business, how do we modernize, how do we add technology to our business, how do we take it global, how do we merge, how do we look for businesses which are, or how can we get acquired. So everything is part of the startup world. So we want to give them these array of services. That's one thing. Second is, one thing in business is that you cannot really grow if you are doing everything all the time. So again, while we are trying to give them a lot of services, we will need to segment, we will need to specialize in a certain segment, which means to say that we can give them a couple of services, but we will have to identify which kind of startups or which kind of small enterprises we want to nurture. When I say this, what I mean is that, do I want to nurture businesses in, let us say, the impact segment, which is like environment, sustainability, things like that? Or do I want to do it in the tech segment, health tech segment, or either deep tech? Or so we have all these classifications, or food tech. So I will, what I see is that we will slowly have to consolidate it in terms of which segment we want to operate. And I think the third thing I can vision is that if our services are really accepted and we do a good job, then we should also be able to give some similar services on a global market for small enterprises. So that is where I see these three things I am envisioning in the next 4 to 5 years.
I think that's awesome, because you have such a clear idea and a thought process of where exactly you want to go and which sectors you want to focus on. So we want to wish you all the best for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how do you think this venture has changed you? Do you think it has brought about any changes with you, changes within you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have completely evolved from what I was. And first thing that, having an entrepreneurial streak in you is different. And then actually creating a venture out of it is different. So while I was working, And I'm sure across the board, many people who are working in IT sector or even in agri-business, I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people in the food segment. I see a lot of housewives. They're very entrepreneurial. So having the streak is one thing, but actually converting it is one more. So I think what this thing has taught me is it's not important just to be having that streak in you. It's important if you have to convert it, you need to act. So action, and a lot of it is important, and you can't keep it lying latent. I tell a lot of women entrepreneurs, you have it in you, you need to pull it out. I think the second thing is in business, you learn to be resilient. You don't panic, when things go up and down, because it changes with changes in governments. We had demonetization, we had government changes, we had so many things. We have this war going on, Ukraine. So everything impacts. Petrol price rise impacts you, everything impacts. So we learn to be resilient, and we learn to find ways of keeping ourselves going. That's one more. What else it has helped me is, I think generally it has helped me with, made me strong in facing a lot of challenges and accepting failure as it comes, and failure as a stepping stone to learn lessons, to, what not to do. There are, 100 things which you can do, but there are some things which you are not to do, and you should also know what not to do. Then it has taught me to be good at networking, very good at networking, be a part of a lot of networks. And one important thing I shouldn't miss out, and this is for a lot of them, a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. You want to survive, you need to innovate. You either innovate or you perish. And so I think that these are some of the important lessons I have learned. And also one more thing is that sometimes you need to see beyond profits. It's not always about profits. It's always about what you can add value. So adding value to yourself and to the nation or to whatever cause you are supporting is sometimes more important than profits. So if you want to be an entrepreneur and have a passion, you should even think beyond profits. That's my learning.
I love what you said. You must innovate or you will perish. I think that is something that we should all remember, and I'm sure viewers will remember. But you already answered most of what I was going to ask you in the end. Like, what are some words of wisdom or advice for the upcoming and budding entrepreneurs? You already gave some amazing advice, but do you think you would like to add a little bit more to that? Like, what should they do if they want to go for it and create their own venture? How should they go about it?
Yeah. So my first, I don't know if it's words of wisdom, it's just sharing of experience. So my first sharing of experience is, look at a lot of entrepreneurs. No, don't be scared. Everybody starts small. It's not a DNA concept. Entrepreneurship can be learned and acquired. Critical skills can be acquired. It's just about taking that first step, not being complacent, acting on your strengths, continuing to be a learner all your life if you want to survive. Learning throughout your life, learning. This is going to be really, really important. And I think the next thing that I would like to finish my talk with is that in the startup world, we see a lot of success stories. So it's nice. And the last message I think I would like to leave with the budding entrepreneurs is that it's nice to go by a lot of success stories and to see a lot of people doing very well. That's absolutely great. But I think it's more important not just to want to become a unicorn, because unicorn, see, the very name is uni, only one can become. And it's more important to become an entrepreneur. Make sure you are adding value to yourself and to the nation. Make sure that you are doing what you're passionate about. Make sure you are satisfied and happy with what you're doing, because that is more important, I think, in terms of adding value than actually really wanting to become one of the top notch. So most of the time we go by success stories, those are great, but I think it's more important to love doing what you're doing. And if what you're doing is able to give you a profession, give you some money to sustain, grow, Great, that's superb. It's more important to add more entrepreneurs to our country than to just look at one of those unicorn success stories. It's more important to become an entrepreneur. So I think being an entrepreneur is important, and so you should take it on. It's not important to be one of those rich and famous. It's good if you can, but it's more important to be satisfied and happy with what you're doing. That way you will be happy and you will also add a lot of value to others.
Yes, absolutely. And very well said, Nandita. Be a part of the process. Like, success stories are great, but you should want to be a part of the process and enjoy the journey. So thank you so much for being on the KYE digital platform and speaking with us. It was a pleasure. And we want to wish the Entrepreneur Zone all the very best for the future. It was really nice speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed sharing my views with you. Thank you.
Nice having you here. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.